calling the case of the people of the state of Michigan versus Theodore Wafer. Both sides ready to proceed?
Ready for the defense, Your Honor.
Ready, Your Honor.
Please state your opening arguments now.
Your Honor and gentlemen of the jury, I am here to prove to you that my client is innocent and was acting only in self-defense.
Your Honor and gentlemen of the jury, the defendant has been charged with second-degree murder and possession of a firearm during commission of a felony. The evidence will prove that Renisha McBride was shot and killed by Theodore Wafer on the night of November 2nd, 2013 at 4:42 a.m. in Wayne County in the neighborhood of Dearborn Heights in Michigan, and that he is guilty as charged.
Please call your first witness.
We call Officer Ruben Gonzalez. Will you please tell us how Mr. Wafer seemed when you arrived at the scene?
He seemed distressed, out of sorts, but clearly stated what happened to me.
Were there any signs of forced entry?
No, the screen was knocked off due to the gunshot. No damage to windows or doors.
Please call your next witness.
We call the coroner, Dr. Kesha, to the stand. What was Renisha McBride's blood alcohol level, and were there any signs of drugs in her system?
Yes, her blood alcohol level was .218, and there was signs of cannabis in her system.
And how close was the defendant to the victim when she was shot in the face? And can you tell if it was accidental?
Mr. Wafer was standing from about a 3-foot distance, making the range of the gun to her face 1 foot away. The gun was not fired accidentally, as Mr. Wafer already said.
Your final witnesses, please.
Our final witness is Mr. Theodore Wafer. Please tell the court how you felt and acted when you heard Miss McBride banging on your door at 4:30 a.m.
I was scared. I thought she was breaking in. I forgot my gun was loaded. I'm sorry.
So you grabbed an unloaded gun and pulled the trigger? Really? Does that really make sense to you? And you were scared of her? You're nearly twice her size. Did you think to call the police instead of just shooting her in the face?
I couldn't find my phone, and I was confused, and it was late.
Please state your final arguments now.
In closure, my client, Mr. Theodore Wafer, pleads not guilty to all charges. Clearly, he was startled and woken up at extreme hours. He was confused and thought Miss McBride was attempting to break into his home. He was acting in self-defense.
People of the jury, I'd like to state that even though poor Mr. Wafer was startled, he still thought to shoot first and ask questions later. How did scared Mr. Wafer stand a foot away from Renisha, a 19-year-old disoriented, frightened, helpless, unarmed young girl, look her in the eyes and pull the trigger? Think of your children. Would you have wanted Mr. Wafer to help? And really, if she was white, would he have thought to pull the trigger, or would he have thought to call the police first? Would he have asked her questions? Would he have said, "Ma'am, can I help you?" Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Gentlemen of the jury, please collect your thought in the room next door and come back when you have a verdict. Thank you.
We have reached a verdict, Your Honor. We, the people of the state of Michigan, find the defendant, Theodore Wafer, guilty of murder in the second degree, and for the possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony.
Thank you for your time. Mr. Wafer, you are hereby sentenced to 15 to 30 years for second-degree murder and a mandatory 2 years following for possession of a firearm during the commission of a felony, with a settlement of $10 million to McBride's family for hardships. Court adjourned.